Hello there and welcome back to YOLO. In today's video we will be replacing my brake discs and brake pads. Have you ever been driving your car and you realize when you hit the brakes your steering wheel jitters? Like so? Well, in today's video we're here to fix that. Stay tuned and let's roll that intro. First off, for this procedure, there are going to be a few things that we're going to need. For somewhat obvious reasons, we're going to need brake discs, along with a set of brake pads and everything else. You're going to need something to loosen your tires with, some of those, a few of these, potentially one of those. You're also going to need an expander, which is one of these rubber hooky thingy-majiggies, a volleyball, a set of wings, a handful of peanuts, one of those corny granola bars, some brake cleaner, and of course, a pot of freshly made goulash. I just wish you guys could smell that. It smells amazing. And by the way, you're also going to want a jack stand unless you have like a seriously ripped brother. Step 1, loosen all the bolts of your tire while the tire is still on the ground. Once you're done with that, you're going to want to jack up the car. You'll know it's successfully up once you can spin the wheel free by hand. Step 3, we're going to pull out all the bolts. Rotate your tire that the last bolt is always on top. Use your feet as support for the tire so you can lift that sucker up. You simply grab your hand here, hoist with your toes, and your wheel comes off. Next up, we're going to have to remove this spring right here. For that, you will want a flat screwdriver. The goal is to get in here and push out. So that's what that will look like. So next up, you're going to want to remove this bolt right here, and there's a second one of them down here. Try not to slip off and skin your knuckles on this piece. It does hurt a little bit. So just in case this bolt is way too tight and you guys can't loosen it, you guys can always take size 18, jack it up with a piece of wood underneath it. Make sure that's pretty sturdy underneath. And then you can slowly lower the car to use the car's own weight to loosen the bolt. Make sure when lowering the car, be very careful that the car doesn't actually like fall this way. But once you've done that, you should be able to use your hand strength and it should open. These bolts should only be tightened with about 110 Newton meters. Once you've done that to loosen the bolt, you should be able to use your manly strength and loosen that bolt the rest of the way. In here you can see this little cap right here. You can usually just use your fingernail, pull those out. Make sure to keep these for later. So there's a second one on the bottom, make sure to take that one out as well. So this in here is going to be a size 7 Allen key. You may need some leverage assistance to get that thing open. Once you got those, pull out these pins. Now it's important to note that the shorter one goes up in the top and the longer one comes from the bottom. Okay, once you've done that, you should be able to just pull that off like so. This is where the rubber hooky do thingy majiggy comes quite in hand. Put both your hooks up in your coil springs and you can hang up your manifold. This way you're not pinching any brake lines and it's hanging freely and it's not just dangling and hitting the floor or anything like that. Okay, these should simply pop out. Grab here and down here. Okay, it is now time for us to remove these bolts right here so we can take off this clamp. So once you got those bolts pretty loose, you can just you can take that bracket out and clean those tips for later insertion. Okay, you're gonna want to clean this bracket up. For that, you're gonna need a real man's toothbrush and probably some of this like steel wool kind of stuff. Now remember, it doesn't have to be super brand new clean. You just want most of that gunk to be gone. The inside of here is very important that you do clean those. Next up, you're going to want to take some of this steel wool and you want to polish all the surfaces where you're going to have your brake pads laying on, which is these grooves. There you go. Next up, we're going to have to remove this centering screw. Should be a size 6 Allen. Put that in there. You may notice as I try to remove this, my whole brake is moving. So how do I counter that? There you go. Get a big screwdriver. You got those cracks up here. Just drop it in anywhere in there. Have that rest on your thigh right there. And then I'm going to use some leverage. And this puppy should be loose. Okay, with this screw out, you should be easily able to just pull that whole brake off. Next up, it's very important that you clean this off so that when you put on the next brake disc, that you're not putting it onto a dirty surface. Then, grab yourself one of these. Make sure you give this screw a little bit of love. With the brakes, you will have got one of these little centering screws, which is once again size 6 Allen. You're gonna lift this up and get that disc centered. Simply put that screwdriver in there, hold that tight with your leg, and then you can pull that hand tight like so. Make sure to clean this as well before we proceed. Then if you can, try to compress the cylinder just a bit. Next up, we take our beautiful brake pads. So we're going to take this and just bam, put it back on like that. And now those two screws, screw them all the way in. The torque specs for these screws should be 110 Newton meters. Take some grease, put that in here. A lot of people forget this backside because you don't want any of this grease like smearing off and ending up on your brakes. So now we're at the point where we can take the whole saddle, put it back down, bring it over here, put the two pads in, and then we're pretty much done. And 2. Remember, the long one goes in the bottom, the short one goes in the top. Always grease them. Got myself some handy dandy pig's nut. Your goal is going to be to push this through here. Your bolt's going to come out on this side and you want it to get in here. 25 foot-pounds of torque or so. There we go. So when I'm done with that, I like to take these caps and give them a good old feed of grease. So a simple reason for that is those pins allow your whole caliper to slide back and forth. So I would prefer to have those greased up very well rather than not have enough grease. You simply take those, you put those back in. There you go. So that's pretty much it. We're almost done. All we got to do is slap on my tires and I'm done. Almost forgot, you still need to put that tensioning spring back in. Feed the bottom in first into place. And then pivot this up. And then the top, you just need to push this in here. Quick thing. On the left side of the car, you're going to have a brake wear sensor. That's this cable right here. You're going to need to disattach that. Okay, you're going to need to pull this nipple up and then just yank that over the top, and that's how you loosen that. Okay, once you got that out of the way, this piece just comes out right here. So when unplugging this white piece, you got to pull on these strips back here to open this up, which then allows you to pull this out, which you can then pinch here to disconnect. As you take your new cable, make sure the inside here fits that inside as well, and then you just click, put this back up in here, run with this down here, clip that in here. I just finish this off by running this wire back onto the nipple right here. And this piece, when mounting the wheel back up, it is pertinent and very important that all these inside surfaces are maximally clean. You're good to go. It's pretty easy to put the tire back on if you take your screw, one of these, stick that through first, and then lift the tire with your toes, and then try to find that hole. Then you just take the rest of these screws and you just like fiddle them in. Take this, make them hand tight, only hand tight, and then see if you have any play up or down. And if there's no play, you can just go ahead and tighten them. Torque specs for these wheels is approximately 126 foot-pounds of torque, 126 Newton meters, so to say. Once you're done with that, you can gently lower the car. Always be sure to tighten these in a cross pattern. Torque them all again to see if they're all tight. Don't forget, you can't just hop in the car and ride off right away. You're going to need to set your brakes first. You need to wear them in. So up here, I've prepared a short little video. It'll be a minute or two of me explaining to you guys how to wear them in, how to settle your brake pads. This is just to prohibit glazing and for your guys' own safety. With that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Love you guys. Bye-bye.